Alright, these are your notes for surface area and volume of prisms. Now, prisms can have any type of base. The base can be any shape. It can be a triangle, it can be a rectangle, we could have a hexagon, an octagon. We're really going to only focus on two that we're going to find surface area and volume of. Triangular prisms and rectangular prisms. The examples we're going to do in our notes are going to be triangular prisms because they're more difficult. Rectangular prisms, I'm sure you already know how to do. Okay, if I asked you for the formula for volume of a rectangular prism, I bet you could rattle it off. Probably may not even know that you know it, but I bet you do. So we're going to use triangular prisms for our examples, so we're more familiar with that. Now, there's a formula for the surface area of a prism, any prism, and it will work on triangular or rectangular. I'll give you that formula. You need to make sure you know it. The formula for the surface area of a prism is 2b plus pH. Now, some of those variables may be unfamiliar to us, so let's talk about what they are. B is the area of the base. Only one of them. Okay? One of the bases. You don't need to find the area of both, just one of them. P is the perimeter of the base. And again, you only need one of them. Don't find both and add them together. Just give me the perimeter of one base. H is the height of the prism. Okay, which in this case is going to be the distance between bases. And that's really how I want you to think about it. It's the distance from one base to the other. That's what we're going to call height for prisms. Okay? So if we look at our figure over here, our height is 12 because this is a base and this is a base. The two triangles, the two shapes that are identical, those are our bases. So our height is 12. Now, we're going to figure out the area of the base and the perimeter of the base. And then we're going to plug things into our formula, and that's all we have to do. Well, our base is a triangle. And the formula for the area of a triangle is 1/2 BH. So we're going to figure that out for big B, for capital B. So it'd be 1/2 times, the base of the triangle is 3, and the height of the triangle, now the height of the triangle, not the prism, the height of the triangle is 4. So we have 1/2 times 3 times 4. 3 times 4 is 12, half of that is 6. So there's big B, it's 6. The perimeter of the base is all sides added together. Add all sides. So we have a 3, a 4, and a 5. We add those together. 3 plus 4 is 7, plus 5 is 12. So there's our perimeter. And that's all we have to do once we figure those out. When we figure those out, we go back and we plug them in our formula. Remember our formula. Surface area equals 2b plus pH. Well, 2 times b, which we found to be 6, plus, we found P to be 12, and remember this H is this distance between bases here, so it's going to be 12, how long it is from one base to the other. We put this in our calculator, 6 times 12, or we can do it in our head either way, 6 times 2 is 12, got a little ahead of myself, and 12 times 12 is 144. We add these together, 12 plus 144 ends up giving us 156. Okay, now we're talking about area, so I do need to put a label on there, units squared. And that would be the answer to the problem. That's how we find surface area. Okay? Pretty straightforward, not too difficult. What catches most people is finding big B in the perimeter. That catches most people. So pay attention to that. But once you find those, all you're doing is plugging numbers into your formula. Now, the volume of a prism, its formula is big B times H. And they're the same as they are up here. Big B, again, is the area of the base. H is the distance between bases. This will tell us how much space there is inside of this three-dimensional object. Now, the reason I told you you probably know how to find the the volume of a rectangular prism, most of you will say length times width times height. That's perfectly fine. We make it generic for any type of prism, so we use big B depending on whatever our base shape is. I can't use length times width times height to find volume of a triangular prism because my base isn't a rectangle. Remember, the formula for the area of a rectangle is the length and the width, and that's where the L and the W come from. If my base isn't a rectangle, I need to use this more general formula, V equals big B times H. Okay? So we're going to go through. We've already found big B, so we don't need to do it again. Big B we found to be 6. And H is given to us in the problem. It was 12. Well, 6 times 12 is 72. Remember I told you volume is in units cubed because it's 3 dimensions, 3 things. Okay? Length, width, and height. So there would be our answer. And that's how we find surface area and volume. Again, we did a triangular prism because it's a little more difficult than a rectangular prism, and those two are the ones we're going to focus on. Triangular prism, rectangular prism. Now we've got one thing down here, a note about rectangular prisms, and this deals with the bases. Okay? If I give you a rectangular prism, well, the bases could be any of the 2 pairs of sides. I could have the bases be the front and the back, because those are rectangle. I could have the bases be the bottom and the top, or the bases could be the left and the right. Okay, so this is front and back, this is top and bottom, and this is left and right. Now, any of these with a rectangular prism, any of these will give the same answers for surface area. And it does not matter for a rectangular prism. If I'm just finding surface area and volume, it doesn't matter what I pick to be the bases on a rectangular prism. I am going to get the same answer no matter how I do it. Okay? Because essentially, we're figuring out the same thing. Okay, if I'm doing length times width times height, I can put them anywhere in my rectangular prism. They could be any of the 3 dimensions, and I'm still going to get the same answer because when I multiply them all together, it's going to be the same thing. So what I wanted to point out here is that it doesn't matter what I choose as my bases. I can choose the front and the back, or I can choose the top and the bottom, or the left and right. I'm going to get the same answer for both surface area and volume, okay, regardless of what bases I pick. So I could do these 3 separate problems here, and I should get the same answers for all 3 problems. Okay? That's what I want you to see. If you have any questions, make sure you go back and watch the video, especially these problems on surface area and volume. You do need to know the formulas, so make sure you have them written down someplace or you have them memorized. If you still have questions, bring them to class next time.